well, welcome to another episode of the Farnham Podcast, Looking Within. My name's Mark, and we're just going to take some time to talk about, well, actually, I don't know what we're going to talk about because we have no plan. And listen, it's driving me nuts already. Like, I'm freaking out here because we have no plan, but that's okay because this is going to be good. I got Chris here with me and my buddy Tony. Let's just have a conversation. What do you guys want to talk about?
Well, let's talk about the fact that you have no plan, because I
Chris,
introduced that idea.
It's killing me, man. It's killing me.
I introduced that on purpose. So I want to talk a little bit about free-flowing thinking and how we can find answers in a place of free-flowing thinking and how that works, a little bit about what that looks like.
I feel like it doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
Just saying.
My friend Mark has to plan out what he wants to say. He has to have an idea. He can't count on the wisdom coming through in the moment.
I can count on it. I got to write it down a couple days in advance. And then we'll talk about it.
Tony, when you prepare for a group, what do you prepare?
A lot of times I go in the general plan to talk about my understanding of the three principles and mostly just talk about what occurs to me in the moment. Throughout every group, I have insights. I'm always developing a deeper understanding. One topic or one thought I have often turns into another. Just talk about what occurs to me in the moment.
You see, we've all been told just be yourself, and that'll be good, that'll be enough, that's what you need. We never quite understood that at a deeper level. I know for me, when I'm trying to plan something out, when I'm trying to figure out what I want to say, I just kind of get lost in the chaos in my own head. The words don't come to me naturally. And I find that when I'm in a quiet mind, when I have less on my mind, the words just kind of come to me and there's no pressure around it. I give people this advice all the time when they're asking me about job interviews. So like, well, what should I say? How should I present myself? Should I talk about this? Well, just kind of show up. Just kind of show up with less on your mind. And the right words will occur to you in the moment. You see, we have access to insightful thinking. It's always there. It's always available to us. We just get so caught up in the chaos of our own thinking that we start to put pressure on it. We put an urgency and importance to our own thinking. And when we're able to slow that down, when we're able to come to a place when we have less on our minds, it seems to work better for me. Is that kind of helping you out a little bit, Mark? Or are you still feeling anxious about this?
You know, it's funny you said about, job interviews, because I remember getting ready for one a few years ago. This was, pre-Farnham days, and, spending a lot of time preparing. And I get into the interview, and the person didn't ask any of the questions or talk about any of the things that I had prepared for. And I had spent a lot of time just really overthinking, over-preparing, getting anxious about this interview. They didn't even talk about anything I prepared for. And in the end, it was kind of like what this is, just a free-flowing conversation. And I got the job, so I guess there's something.
Here, so something worked for you.
Yeah.
Whether it's a job interview or a conversation you have to have with somebody you care about, the more time we spend preparing for it, the more in our own heads we get, the more urgent it feels. And sometimes we'll get lost in what we wanted to say, and we can't pay attention to what's right in front of us. So that's why I like to prepare with less sense of urgency, less on my mind.
I'm experiencing kind of the exact opposite right now. I'm feeling a lot of urgency. I'm really feeling my thinking in this moment. See, I'm sitting here in front of a microphone and I feel the obligation to really perform at my best. And when my mind is racing in the busy, chaotic thinking, I don't have access to my own best wisdom. I've got a lot on my mind. I know when I realize and become aware of the fact that I'm feeling my thinking, that there's nothing really scary or urgent going on in this moment. When I am fully aware that it's not the podcast that's making me anxious, but my thinking about this podcast, it helps me to slow down some. My mind gets a little quieter, and in those moments, that's when I have access to my own best wisdom.
What do you do with that sense of urgency?
Nothing. There's nothing really to do. Our mind and bodies always flow in one direction, towards mental health and physical well-being. So we don't really need to mess with anything and fix it. We kind of leave it alone, because every time I return to that busy, chaotic thinking, I re-experience all those feelings of anxiety. If I leave it alone, I find I just have access to more clear thinking.
Mark, did Tony fix you?
Not entirely, but hey, that was really good. And I think for our listeners, it's just important to remember that you don't have to get to a place where you're, super anxious about really anything. That whatever it is that you're experiencing, whether it's a job interview or if it's work or it's a brand new podcast, that you feel like the stakes are high and you want to perform and I'm on my way to Hollywood. The reality is just be you and be okay with you, and whatever comes to the surface, just share it. I think that's been pretty cool for this episode. So make sure you check out upcoming episodes, and thanks for listening.